La Bourdonnais faces McDonnell in round 4 of the 1834 London Championship. La Bourdonnais opens with the classic king's pawn, staking a claim in the center. McDonnell mirrors White's move, establishing a symmetrical central presence. White develops a knight to its natural square, attacking Black's e5 pawn. Black defends the e5 pawn and develops a knight to a strong central outpost. La Bourdonnais brings out the bishop, aiming at Black's weak f7 square, characteristic of the Italian game. McDonnell follows suit, developing the bishop to an active square and creating a symmetrical setup. White prepares to build a strong pawn center with d4. McDonnell's d6 reinforces the center, but it allows La Bourdonnais to establish a strong pawn mass. La Bourdonnais executes the thematic d4 pawn sacrifice, opening the center to accelerate development. Black accepts the pawn moves, taking the d4 pawn. White recaptures on d4, gaining a strong central pawn presence. McDonnell retreats the bishop to a safer square on b6. La Bourdonnais d5 advances the pawn, but this aggressive push is perhaps premature, potentially allowing Black to equalize with careful play. McDonnell directly challenges White's advanced pawn with n5. White captures the knight on e5, simplifying the position in the center. Black recaptures with the pawn, maintaining a central pawn. La Bourdonnais develops another knight, preparing to castle queenside. McDonnell develops the other knight, preparing for kingside castling. White develops the bishop with a pin on Black's knight, further restricting Black's kingside. McDonnell castles kingside, securing the king but potentially exposing the f-file later. La Bourdonnais brings the queen into the attack, eyeing the pinned knight and the kingside. McDonnell defends the f6 knight and develops the queen. White captures the knight, destroying Black's kingside pawn structure after recapture. Black recaptures with the queen, keeping the pawn structure intact for now. White exchanges queens, leading to an endgame with a damaged pawn structure for Black. Black recaptures with the g-pawn, creating doubled and isolated pawns on the f-file, seriously weakening the kingside. La Bourdonnais pushes the g-pawn, a pawn sacrifice aiming to open the g-file for his rook. McDonnell moves the king to g7, trying to find a safer square. White repositions the knight, preparing to bring it to a more active square. Black brings the rook to the h-file, perhaps anticipating a kingside attack. White's rook takes up a position on the g-file, eyeing Black's king. McDonnell moves the king towards the center, away from the open g-file. White doubles rooks on the g-file, increasing pressure on Black's kingside. Black's king continues its journey towards the center. La Bourdonnais castles queenside, bringing the king to safety and connecting the rooks. McDonnell's h5 tries to create some space, but a bishop development to d7 might have been more effective in coordinating rooks. La Bourdonnais sacrifices another pawn, further opening lines on the kingside. Black avoids capturing the pawn, instead pushing f5 to block the g-file. White brings the knight back to c3, centralizing it and preparing for further attacks. McDonnell develops the bishop to an active diagonal. La Bourdonnais makes a third pawn sacrifice on the kingside, relentlessly opening lines towards Black's king. Black moves the bishop to d6, covering the f8 square. White captures on f7, attacking the king and opening up the f-file. McDonnell recaptures with the king, bringing it further into the open. La Bourdonnais sacrifices yet another pawn, clearing the f-file and exposing Black's king even more. Black accepts the pawn moves, taking the f4 pawn. White brings the other rook to the g-file, creating a powerful battery against Black's king. McDonnell's king retreats back towards f8, seeking safety. White's rook penetrates to g6, threatening the f-pawn and adding pressure. Black pushes the f-pawn, hoping to create some counterplay or block the g-file. White captures the f5 pawn, maintaining the attacking momentum. McDonnell's b5 is a critical misstep, as it fails to adequately defend against White's incoming attack. La Bourdonnais sacrifices the d-pawn, opening lines for his bishop and knight. Black captures the d6 pawn. La Bourdonnais delivers a powerful rook sacrifice on g8, giving check and forcing Black's hand. Black is forced to capture the rook, but this opens the way for white's other rook. White's second rook swoops in, capturing on g8 with check and maintaining the fierce attack. McDonnell's king moves to e7, trying to escape the checks. White delivers a knight check, further restricting black's king. Black's king moves to d7, its last remaining escape square. Bourdonnais plays bb5, delivering a beautiful checkmate and concluding a brilliant attacking game. Bourdonnais won the game by delivering a decisive checkmate on move 61, showcasing an impressive kingside attack.